everybody, and welcome to The Run. I'm S, joined alongside a true sports member here, Brandon Colwell, and we have the regulars, AJ,
what's going on?
Kahon.
I'm back.
And the world seems to have grinded to a halt because of the coronavirus and COVID-19.
Mm-hmm.
And in our world, the world of sports, that has also happened as well.
Mm-hmm.
The NBA has postponed or actually suspended all games for the next month. The MLB has postponed
at least a month.
At least a month, exactly. Mm-hmm. The NBA has postponed opening day. The NHL has suspended all activities. MLS has also suspended their season. So now the world of sports now grinds to a halt as well.
Mm-hmm.
For us, everybody in this room, we're also reacting. We're dealing with the situation at home. I wanted to ask you guys in general, how have you guys been dealing with the, I guess, quarantine everybody is putting themselves through right now?
To be honest, I don't know how to handle this.
Okay.
Yeah. I really don't know how to handle this. At first, of course, safety first. You got to have the safety of the fans, got to have the safety of the players, make sure your health, everything is in order.
Right.
But in terms of no sporting activity at all, I don't know what to do because we've already went through this through summer, and I'm not much of a baseball guy, so I'm not looking forward to that. I look forward to the NBA playoffs. I look forward to these things. Yeah. I look forward to rivalries. I look forward to players receiving their awards, things like that. I look forward to the draft. I look forward to March Madness. I look forward to a lot of things. And I catch myself going on YouTube now, trying to watch some old highlights. I'm rewatching March Madness, rewatching NBA Finals, all these things. And it's like, listen, man, this is going to be tough.
It's tough because sports is removed, and we genuinely don't know when it's coming back.
It's gone.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like what Kay said.
For a while.
Yeah, what Kay said. I mean, usually we look forward for playoffs. We look forward to championship series when it comes to the NBA, but even that is not guaranteed because Adam Silver has come on record and say we don't know what to expect. Right. Is there a chance that the season might be canceled? Yeah, there's a chance that the season might be canceled. We don't know if what's gonna happen if the league is going to come back and what's going to happen if it does come back. We just, from a scheduling perspective, it's all up in the air right now, and we don't know what's going to happen.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and it's tough, too, because, if it does come back, like we were talking about earlier, does it come back and all of a sudden it goes right to the playoffs?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Does it come back and all of a sudden now they get 5 games, half the time? Or does it come back and we start pushing into July and August, then what happens to the next season as well? There's so many different things that nobody knows right now.
Right, well, that's the thing. If it does come back, and depending on when it comes back, if the finals then enter into the month of August, right? Mm-hmm. Usually training camp starts in October, right? So if it ends in August and then we have training camp, will it start in October or will it get pushed further? Can this suspension? Can this when is free agency?
Yeah.
Can this suspension of the league have a permanent effect on the schedule moving forward, depending on when the season ends? We don't know right now.
Yeah.
But it's not only the NBA. I feel like a lot of sports that generally go on through that time, like let's say MLB, the big Ice Cube's Big Three. I don't think they want the NBA to push their season over because it's losing money out of their pockets.
Up their time.
Right. It takes away their views. It takes away all these things, and they're not going to want that. So I think other major sports leagues, I know the coronavirus, that everything's shutting down, but I think once everything gets resumed again, if it does get resumed, other sports that primarily have those time slots would want the NBA to, do your playoffs, finish as quickly as possible because we don't want you to take views from us as well.
Right.
So
That's a good
who
point.
knows?
I don't think that anybody questions that this was out of this isn't a necessity. This was 100% something that needed
tough
to be
decision, but correct decision.
And
Absolutely.
the NBA was first to do it of all of them, and that's
Yeah,
hard.
kudos,
Before
man.
the United States even closed the borders to Europe and realized, hey, this is an absolute pandemic. This is an epidemic. We are scared for this. They made a huge call.
Yeah.
And one thing I want to say is I really want to give a big shout out to Adam Silver. Let's think about the year, or not even the year, the season that he's had to deal with.
Absolutely.
First, you start with the China thing. You lose millions of dollars. Then the Kobe death, unfortunately. Now you have to integrate, how are we going to honor Kobe? How are we going to do all these things? That's another pillar gone. Now you got to deal with the coronavirus, and it's like, who does Adam Silver have to go to for answers? It's literally falls on his shoulders and his team, and it's like, what are we going to do in this situation? And from step by step, Adam Silver has been handling this accordingly, and I give all the power to him, all the respects to him.
I gotta say, in his tenure, there hasn't been a commissioner that has had to deal with this much stuff throughout his career. Essentially,
Yeah, in such little time too.
think about as soon as he walked into the league, it was the Donald Sterling situation.
Yeah. Yep.
Right after that, it was injustice in America and racial. Remember what was happening between the racial tension that was happening in America, and he had to deal with the player protests that the players were doing. Then China. This season, you mentioned Kobe, and now you have the coronavirus. He has passed with flying colors as a commissioner.
Every
There is
scenario.
no doubt.
Best
to that.
commissioner in sports.
He actually spoke about the coronavirus as well, and this is what he had to say.
And so, of course, the issue becomes now, what we determined today is that this hiatus will be most likely at least 30 days. I mean, and we don't know enough, as you've all said, to be more specific than that, but we wanted to give direction to our players and teams and to our fans that this is going to be roughly at least a month. But then the question becomes, is there a protocol, frankly, with or without fans, in which we can resume play?
So obviously Adam Silver there mentioning that at least for 30 days the NBA is going to be gone. And we were talking about this earlier. It is going to be a scheduling logistic nightmare for when they want to try to bring it back. All of this does result or comes back to what happened with the situation with Rudy Gobert and him testing positive for coronavirus. A lot of the blame, a lot of the conversation has went around Gobert. And obviously he stated his apology. He released an apology statement, I believe yesterday or a couple of days ago. Yeah. And now we're at that point where he is the face of this situation for the NBA.
For all of sports.
For all of sports. Does he deserve the heat? Does he deserve the heat?
No. Good.
I'll let you go first.
Go for it.
I don't think so at all, because how could he possibly know? What he did was foolish. What he did was immature. Was it malicious?
No.
Did he mean
not.
to do anything with it when he was on the mics and all that? Absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
It could have been any one player. You're talking about thousands and thousands and thousands of people in the same arena. This thing is spreading like absolutely crazy. You don't even know you have the symptoms. Like usually you'd get stuffy nose and you're like, okay, I'm getting sick. Maybe I'll, not go right next to somebody and start touching everything of theirs. Yeah. This is different. It's not his fault.
It is.
It's not his fault.
But this is the one thing I will say, though, just a little bit of a pushback. The only way I wouldn't give him a pass if other players have expressed to him, like, okay, look, I know you're taking this as a joke, but right now, to me, I don't feel safe with this virus going around. So if you could tone it down a little bit, and if they gave him that warning and then he still proceeded to do what he did, then I would be like, okay, this is a little bit messed up. But if nothing was told, then I don't think we should be given the blame someone. We're always trying to put a face to something.
Donovan Mitchell, who also a teammate of Rudy Gobert's, tested positive.
Yep.
That's the part that I want to talk about.
He actually said, though, he said in his statement that we as an organization need to be smarter about the situation and be more respectful.
Absolutely.
So he's taking a shot at Gobert.
That's when look, is it malicious? Was it on purpose? Of course not. But this is a very, very serious virus right now.
Absolutely.
And the thing about Gobert is that he didn't take it seriously. He took it very lightly, touching and the mics and all that stuff. That's one thing. But even when Donovan Mitchell's when the report came out of him being positive for the coronavirus, there were reports saying that it's because Gobert was careless. Right. And that's the part that I don't like. And because of that carelessness, now Donovan Mitchell is paying the price. Yeah. Luckily, it's just him. Nobody else tested positive on the team. But it's like if Gobert was a little bit more serious and a little bit more careful with the way he dealt with it, it would have been a safer situation for Donovan Mitchell at least.
Well, the thing is, like, I've been hearing a lot of people talk about this, and it's never like a virus that comes out. It's never serious until it happens to somebody global. Right. Like, we've seen other people get the virus, but it's like, oh, we're professional athletes, we're NBA players, we're MLB players, NHL players.
It's always like that. Yeah, it's not going to happen until it happens.
We have millions of dollars, so we'll be fine. It's not going to touch us because we're immune to this. We think that these athletes are superhuman, and sometimes maybe the athletes think that as well. But at the same time, you can't take yourself out of that equation saying, oh, because I'm in this position, I'm not going to catch it. And look what happened. Yeah. As someone who has all the best doctors in the world, a lot of money, Rudy Gobert still caught it, and it was able to spread to Donovan Mitchell. And luckily, nobody else caught it.
But it's not just him, though. We're talking, like, if you want to look at Italy, Italy's the reason why we made all of these changes. They locked down an entire country that didn't take it seriously. So it's not Rudy Gobert. It's everyone in general saying, oh, no, it's in China, we don't have to worry about it. Oh, no, it's in Iran, we don't have to worry about it. Oh, no, it's in okay, it's getting closer. Oh, no. And then all of a sudden, Italy is in all-out crisis. I think as just a civilization in total, we're going to treat these things very different moving forward. And you won't find this type of ignorance.
Oh, yeah.
See, the thing about,
forward,
again, going back to Gobert, was that before this even happened, before him touching that video of him touching the mic and all that, the league was already discussing about not having fans come into the league.
Agreed.
Like, it became serious.
Yep.
Golden State was actually that day
planning on doing it.
That day they were not going to have fans in their building, so it was a serious issue from beforehand. And Gobert didn't take it seriously. That's the biggest issue for me for that.
In general, with Gobert, there is a chain reaction actually with any NBA player, any professional athlete. I think we can all agree that athletes at the end of the day, because of how pristine of a condition they're in, how obviously they're athletes, they will be fine if they get the coronavirus. But is the chain reaction that happens for when, let's say, Rudy Gobert gets it, and then later on he daps up a custodian. That custodian gets it, passes it on to his family. It is a chain reaction.
It is.
That happens.
That's
that
the scary
people
part.
Are afraid of.
Because the Raptors played him the day before he got caught, and
Right.
then the next day when he was positive, they had a fundraising event in Toronto.
Two
fundraising events in Toronto where the general public was there as well.
Right.
So right now, we don't know what's happening with the Raptors as of this present moment.
Yeah.
But if something happens, then that might spread to somebody else, just a normal everyday citizen, and who knows where that might land elsewhere, right? So where this could spread is a very scary thought right now.
The NBA has asked the Toronto Raptors, along with pretty much any team that has faced the Utah Jazz over the past 2 weeks, to quarantine themselves for 2 weeks. They're obviously all going to get tested at some point. And if you guys want, we'll talk about it now. But the idea that Rudy Gobert was able to get tested and then later on, within 24 hours, get his result. But you see in America, there's a struggle with test kits. You see in Canada, there's, probably not as much of a struggle regarding test kits. But what do you guys think about that? Do you think that it's fair that this athlete that's getting millions of dollars is in a position to be able to get the kit faster?
But life isn't fair though.
No, like exactly.
It happens. If you have money, you step in front of the line. And that's how it's always going to be. If I have more money than you, if I'm more famous than you, and plus there's a league behind me where I have some type of importance, I'm sorry, but it's privilege.
I agree with you.
It is what it is.
I agree with you.
That's what I was going to say. Like,
of
when
MRIs,
how long does it take for MRIs to get scheduled, right? Like, you get them, like a month after, sometimes 2 months
Sometimes,
after?
yeah.
These guys are in the hospital next day getting MRIs done.
Yeah.
Not even hours.
Hours,
Like,
yeah.
so
I don't think
it's
it's
fast.
unfair.
That's the point. Like,
And we're not
it's
prepared
just,
for it.
It's just part of the organization and part of having a doctor on site specific for that particular organization.
The only thing I'm saying is there's a difference between what is the norm and what we should potentially consider, right?
Absolutely.
Like
Absolutely.
that's all I'm saying. Like, yeah, I agree. That's gonna happen always in society.
Forever.
But I think the question is, should that be always happening? In
It
society,
shouldn't
right?
be always happening, but it's not going to change. If you want it to change, get your money up, and then you'll be able to get in front of the line.
The other conversation that's happening around the NBA is the financial aspect of this. It's the fact that right before he actually found out about the situation, Mark Cuban, he was first of all in shock, and then later on, as soon as he reacted, said, we're going to figure out a way to compensate our in-arena staff.
The day of.
The day of.
At the same game. I think that's massive. You got this billionaire saying, well, wait a second, I'm not even going to think about this twice. I've already started in the back of my head and talking to my management team that I'm going to be for the hourly employees around me. Whereas other basketball clubs, I don't know if we're going to name them, we're saying, no, we want to play. We want to still go. We don't care because it's money.
Houston.
Mark Cuban did not take that route.
I'm completely fine with
huge.
naming them, by the way. The New York Knicks and Houston Rockets opted not to do that, not to
was
follow
not
suit.
doing
I'm
that,
completely fine with naming them out. Guys, in general, people have followed Mark Cuban. Let's actually hear what Mark Cuban had to say right at that game.
You know, in talking to when some of the things were coming up that we might not play games, and this was yesterday, I reached out to the folks at the arena and our folks at the Mavs to find out, you know, what it would cost to financially support people who aren't going to be able to come to work, they get paid by the hour, and this was their source of income. And so we'll do some things there. We may ask them to go do some volunteer work in exchange, but we've already started the process of having a program in place, and I don't have any details to give, but it's certainly something that's important.
So Cuban there obviously saying that he is willing to pay or figure out some kind of way
Program.
to compensate the in-arena staff. Kevin Love of the Cleveland Cavaliers has donated $100,000.
Respect.
Giannis Antetokounmpo of the Milwaukee Bucks has also donated $100,000. Do we see the rest of the league following this trend?
They should. They should.
They should and will are two different things.
They should.
I don't think they will. Some will not.
Unfortunately, because you're talking about people's lives here, right? I mean, you're talking about, right now the NBA has apparently, they have a doomsday clause in their CBA agreement, right? Which says that owners they don't have to pay a portion of the player's salary when you have an active nature, like a force majeure happening like this, right? So, I mean, to have that clause, and then you have Mark Cuban saying that, who cares? I'm going to pay these people. This is their livelihood now in jeopardy right now. And so should the owners do it? Absolutely. Will they? I don't know.
I think it goes back to that question we were talking about earlier. It's the difference between should and will, right? Will some of these players compensate or be compensated from their clauses? Adrian Wojnarowski, Yahoo Sports and ESPN actually just talked about the force majeure clause, and this is what he had to say.
It says, in the event that games are canceled and games can't be played for a number of reasons, including war, natural disasters, and an epidemic, players don't have to be paid the percentage of their contract salaries left. So they actually gave the players a sliding scale calculator based on how many games they had left this season. And so if in the instance that they do not play again this season and those games are canceled, most players, like different players, have played a different amount of games this season, but anywhere I'm told from 21 to 24% of their salary could be held back if the league triggered that provision. Now, there's not been any discussion between the Players Association and the league about doing it. The players will get their checks, their full checks on Sunday, March 15th, but there are checks left on April 1st, April 15th that remain in doubt if the season doesn't pick up again.
So obviously, Woj explaining that this is a situation that's going to be ongoing. The NBA and the NBPA, Players Association, have had the conversation about, there is the potential that contracts might be cut. There'll be partial contracts for this season. That is going to make a lot of players angry.
Chris Paul.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what though? It's in the contracts.
It is.
You voted for it one way or another. I'm sorry. At the end of the day, like you should have looked into that more, or maybe that was a bargaining chip that they had, or whatever it be. But it's in there. So as a player, you can't get angry. As an employee, it's hard, right? It's hard, but at the same time, all of these companies, we're talking right now about Mark Cuban.
Yeah. Right.
Because it's also a PR thing. Not that he did it for a PR reason. I'm not saying that whatsoever.
I'm sure a little bit of it had to do.
Like, that money's gone.
Yeah.
You know you're not going to have fans in the seats. You know you've missed all those different games. You probably have to give your money back to season tickets holders, although that one I'm not too sure yet.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, if you come out and say we're not paying anybody, you have to rehire everyone afterwards. You're going to have a stain on your organization, and people start talking to you, say everyone was sick and ill, and you were not there for them.
Yep.
You're a billionaire. You almost can't say no unless you really just don't care.
And I think this is why Mark Cuban was so smart to be the first one to do it. Now it puts pressures on all the NBA owners. What are you going to do? Because technically, everybody that's in that umbrella works for the NBA and is employed by the owners. So it shouldn't necessarily be the players' responsibility to pay everybody else that's around them. Technically, it should come from the owners. The fact that players are even donating is more than remarkable. But it comes down from the owners, and because Mark Cuban started it, who is going to follow suit, and we'll see from there.
there's so many questions that this raises just because of this is unprecedented. This is unmarked territory. We in sports, we really don't know where we're heading, right? And one of the big conversations about that we've mentioned earlier on is scheduling. When the NBA decides, hey, we're going to come back, do we incorporate fans? Is there going to be the regular season that continues, or are we going to jump straight into playoffs? Does this season completely is a no? We just throw it out and we start again in October.
Right.
What is the next step? What do you guys think the next step is going to be?
I think it goes late. We were talking about this earlier, and I think it goes late. You do restart it. Will fans be in there? Probably not, and I'll be really angry because I don't want to win. I want to watch it, because now you've taken away home court advantage. And that's such a different atmosphere. But I think it goes late if they are going to do it.
Right.
It goes late, and this is where we had a lot of disagreement on is what happens after that? Because you're supposed to have a good summer off to recover, to get set. I think they shorten preseason.
Well, Olympics, they might cancel Olympics too.
I don't even think I think they start the season late. Like it's like you're not forced. Like you're in a lockout now, but you may have to be forced to like take the lockout route. So you start in December. But in terms of what to do right now, listen, Portland, the Pelicans, Spurs, all those teams that are literally fighting for that 8th spot. The East is done. Yeah, everyone knows the East is pretty much set in stone. It's done. But in terms of the Western Conference teams, my apologies, but whatever it is right now, that's what it is right now. And I say the second they come back, you go straight into the playoffs.
But that'd be terrible for the Western Conference. Eastern Conference, you're fine. But if you look here, the Kings are 7-3. They're tied with the Pelicans and one other team right now.
Spurs, right?
And no, it's the Kings, Blazers, and Pelicans.
Okay.
All 3.5 games back. If you're 7-3 going into that, and you're on a roll, and you're saying, "Hey, I can do this," or if you're the Pelicans,
absolutely,
we've got Zion back, and they're honestly, watching that team now is actually a lot of fun.
Man,
it is a lot of fun.
Zion versus LeBron in the first round of the
exactly.
playoffs.
We're gonna have to imagine it.
It's so close. The East
we don't know.
we
don't know. I don't know what crystal ball you have, Kay, but let me look at it.
Listen. We're gonna have to imagine it because it's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
Realistically, all of these conversations.
It's true. No, that's true. I'm just saying we can't you're putting. I'm telling you in this wood right here. You'd be like, no. You put like a Will Smith in Fresh Prince when you put the name on his on the desk. Remember that? That's what you're doing right now.
I'm telling you guys what's gonna happen. I'm telling you, you can mark this down. There won't be any more games. You have to go into the playoffs because remember. There's once again Olympics. There's free agency, which all of us look forward to, and other sports, like other major sports, will not want the NBA to cut into their TV.
No,
time.
but you're saying the season would start later, right? So if they're going right into playoffs, right, then there's potential of the final starting on June 1st, and still, and then you start on the regular time, right?
I think they'll probably move it,
right?
They'll probably move it, but I really think that they're just gonna scrap the season and. Whoever is in what spot, that's what spot.
I'll give you guys some numbers right now.
I'll
give you guys some numbers right now. So the playoffs usually start April 18th. And let's say we see a ban until April 1st. There's still 6 weeks left into the season, which means we'd have a 3-week overlap, which means instead of April 18th, the playoffs would start on May 7th. And the playoffs usually take about a month and a half.
Month and a half
to get to the
finals. Start June 1st, no matter what.
I don't think they do.
That's changing this year.
No. I'm talking about generally.
Okay.
Oh, yes.
Generally in the NBA.
A lot later than that.
Finals start June 1st.
Now it would be finals would start end of June.
Yeah.
And it would still work. You would still be able to have a decent off season and start in, let's say, instead of starting at
October's
the end of
training
October,
camp, you'd have November training camp instead. And then you start the season in December.
They'll probably shorten training camp, to be honest.
That's
because what are you really doing in training camp?
They might make it 48
Star players
games,
don't even show up to training camp.
You don't want to
sometimes.
mess up 2 seasons
don't.
from the same thing.
You
Then
don't.
you would have to go late again, and then you're slowly each year just pulling it back by a couple weeks. I think you just cut out most of training camp.
And the
or you keep training camp and you just go right to the regular season.
That's true. The NBA has a chance, an opportunity here to turn a negative, which is the coronavirus and everything they've had to deal with, to a positive. And that is they have the opportunity to do some of these changes that they've been suggesting all throughout this year. Maybe potentially shortening the season. Maybe potentially adding a midseason tournament now at the start of the season beforehand, right? You really don't know what they can do. Now, I don't know, okay? You can tell me too, but
He's getting ready
there's
for
an
something.
opportunity for it. There's an opportunity for it for them to be able to essentially flip anything on their head right now.
That's very true, but they should have done that from the beginning of the season, saying we might try to implement it this year or something. But because it wasn't implemented, I think you gotta keep everything how it is now, and then moving forward, going into next year, you could probably do that. But
I
as
agree.
of right now,
Yeah.
if let's say I'm Memphis, I don't want to do a tournament. I have the 8th seed right now. I'm not trying to give that up.
Oh no, that's not what I was saying. Let's say in January they start the tournament starts in December. They do a tournament. Season starts in January. Go forward. Have 40 games instead of 60 or 82.
Okay.
Reduce the amount of games.
Yeah,
that you
that's
have.
what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
I'm thinking cut the season in half.
Yeah.
Just forget the
For
tournament.
next season.
Yeah. Like, if we start later,
Yeah.
right? Like it again, guys, it all depends on when we end this season.
Yeah.
That's what it boils down to.
The season's
right?
over.
No.
Well, I mean, the playoffs-
I mean, not regular
right?
season. I mean,
Okay,
Yeah.
regular
So
season.
you're saying,
I'm
wait,
talking
saying
playoffs.
playoffs.
you're saying playoffs are done too?
No. Playoffs aren't done. Regular season's
Oh,
done.
okay. So it depends on when whatever team hoists that trophy, whatever date that is. Then Adam Silver will go back and say, okay, what do we do now?
Right.
Yeah.
That's what it is. And I have faith in Adam Silver.
I do.
If there's one thing that we can have is faith in Adam Silver that he will make the right decision, because like you mentioned earlier in this episode, he's done that throughout.
Yes.
When we saw the format for the All-Star game, a lot of people crapped on it, right?
Now it's
But it
amazing.
became the
Good,
greatest
man.
All-Star game in the history of the NBA.
Yeah.
Okay? So like whatever it is, right now, we're throwing out guesses, and that's what our job is, to analyze the situation and to guess what's going to happen. At the end of the day, whatever Adam Silver decides, I think will be the right decision.
Another little caveat to this is the fact that if you give these NBA players 2 months of rest, this is essentially 2 months of rest, or at least 30 days of rest. You have Kawhi Leonard's load management is now 2 months of load management.
He's healthy.
You have LeBron James completely rested going into the playoffs. You may potentially even have
Don't say
Kevin
it.
Durant
I
and
knew
Kyrie
it.
Irving
That-
coming back. BK, you already know what it is.
Why not?
Coming back for the
No.
playoffs.
Could you imagine?
August?
We all
What
thought
if
he was
the-
right.
hold on, what if
wrote
the
off.
playoffs start in August? What if it rolls in August?
No.
No?
It could
No.
happen though.
Yeah, I get it could happen, but I don't want to see Kevin Durant jump back into the playoffs.
Twice.
No.
Twice. There
We've
would be
seen
2
what happened.
times.
We've seen what happened when he just jumped back in.
Me neither.
And look what happened. He
Me
was
neither.
doing the dancing thing, and then he danced on the floor, and he was gone.
Me neither.
Listen, I don't want to see KD until the next season starts.
But
Just
if
sit.
it's against the Raptors, you don't think he's going to want to come back?
Yeah.
If
Listen,
he thinks
there-
he's healthy,
there's
you don't
there's
want
probably
he
a
wants
little
to
bit
come
of-
back.
KD
And
wants
say
to
that
come
last
back.
one was, you have a championship because I left, I got injured. You don't think it's
Yeah.
in his head?
Listen,
we booed him.
He has a
Trying to boot
championship
him.
because
Yeah.
he joined Golden State. If I'm the owner of the Brooklyn Nets, I'll be like, yo, you sit here right now.
Yeah.
Hey,
Sit here. You're not moving. I
Have you
have
seen
the
those
final
videos
call.
though? Have
He
him
looks good.
dunking,
He
That's
looks
fine.
good.
shooting. I'm
That's
just saying.
fine.
I
the
do
guy-
think you're right, though.
The
Let's be
guy's
honest, I
closer
do
to
think you're
100%
right.
than he is to
He's-
50% or any other
Absolutely,
percentage.
I agree with
Yeah.
him. He's been dunking. He's been hooping, and you see it
Against
He-
who?
Contact.
5'6" trainers?
No, Nick.
Come
I-
on,
no,
man.
no.
I just go so low.
I'm
Got
sorry.
midgets out there.
It doesn't matter. He's going full force though, right? I don't think it's gonna happen.
he's not going
I
for-
think it's an interesting story. I don't think it's gonna
Listen.
happen.
Okay.
But I think that KD, is
No.
almost there.
It is very difficult to come off an injury and throw you back into playoff
playoffs.
basketball.
Yeah.
Like, I'd want him to start off against Charlotte. Go start off against those teams you know you can get your buckets. You don't start off against the Raptors, a top 5 defensive team in the league, and risk another injury.
Right.
You don't do that, man. No way.
Okay, I'll take it. I'll give it to you. That's fair.
Oh, another thing I want to say, because
up?
the season is over, I am declaring that the season is over because that is what's going to happen.
Yo,
Shout
where's your
out.
crystal ball?
Shout out.
Put your foot down right
Crystal
here.
ball, man.
I want to give a shout out to Giannis because LeBron could not catch you in the MVP race. Congratulations. You also won Defensive Player of the Year.
Do they still
Ja
give out
Morant.
awards? That's a
Of
good question.
course you give out awards.
I think they do.
You have to. You played over 60 games.
Yeah.
enough.
Oh man.
Giannis,
There's enough.
Giannis
There's enough.
did enough.
There's enough right now to award somebody an award. That's the simple.
Ja Morant is the Rookie of the Year.
Yeah.
Giannis
Easily.
Antetokounmpo is the MVP and the Defensive Player of the Year.
And Nick Nurse.
Nick
Is the
Nurse
coach of
is
the
Coach
year.
of the Year.
Yeah.
He has
Sixth
to
Man
be.
of the Year. Jeez, that's
That's
a
a
tough
tough
one.
one. It's a
That's a
tough
tough one. But most of the major awards, we already know what's going to happen.
Okay, I'll give it to you. They'll probably do awards. I think that'll
They
happen.
have to.
Yeah.
An unfortunate thing that happened with the NBA, I guess, is the fact that we probably have seen Vince Carter's final game.
Crazy.
which is you didn't expect it to come this early. You thought that you would have at least another 20 games of Vince Carter, be able to celebrate and embrace it like we've had with other past athletes, right? I mean, he did have a pretty awesome clip. Let's actually watch the clip of his final bucket.
6 to 128. They're going to give it to Vince. He's going to take a three and hit it.
All right, so that was the final bucket from Vince. That is probably the last time we'll see Vince Carter. I mean, if the season does return, we'll potentially see him play a couple more games. The Hawks aren't in any playoff contention.
Oh, no.
Yeah. A good career for Vince.
Yeah, definitely a Hall of Famer. You know, it is what it is. I mean, it's sad that that's the way it went, and you know, we saw him crying as well in the press conference when he was talking about it. You know, you don't want to see a player like that, the longest active player in the history of the NBA, end a season like that. You kind of want to see a proper, you know, goodbye and things of that nature. But, you know, Vince has nothing to be ashamed of. He had a very good career. Unfortunately, no rings, but that's okay. We don't need rings to have a good career. Charles Barkley, Patrick Ewing, they're all Hall of Famers. And Vince is a Hall of Famer.
Absolutely.
And, you know, he has a lot to be proud of. And the fact that he played this long, it's great.
It is unfortunate that he won't be able to have that final game in Toronto because they were supposed to play them in April.
Absolutely,
That part is kind of disappointing.
It's bittersweet for sure.
But Vince actually spoke to the media afterwards in a press conference talking about how this could potentially be his final game.
I'm one, like, I'm appreciative, but, you know, I do my time and just walk out the door is okay with me, you know, believe it or not, but it's cool. Believe it or not, it's cool. I just, game's been good. No, just my boy, who I made come back here. That's it.
So other than Vince and the NBA and the world of sports, everybody outside, like literally outside of here, is also going crazy. Okay? It seems like the world has kind of turned on its axis a little bit. I don't know. Mercury is in retrograde. Something's happening. But
Something's happening.
The world is going crazy right now, okay? People are fighting over toilet paper.
Yo, toilet paper is more valuable than gold right now.
makes
I'm kidding you
no
not.
sense.
You cannot go to anywhere in Toronto right now and find toilet paper.
I can't.
It's gone.
In the world.
I genuinely
It's
can't.
gone.
In the world, man.
And there was this something about like Texas or somewhere in the States. They're trying to sell it for $1,000.
Alabama is
That's
selling
Alabama?
toilet paper for
crazy.
$1,100. $1,000.
Can we have a moment of silence for that? No, like honestly, man, like that's so upsetting, man. But first of all, shout out to those who have bidets. I think you guys are.
Yes.
I think you guys
Yes.
are good. You guys
Bidet
are nice
gang
and
all
clean,
day.
man.
Bidet gang all day.
Bidet gang all
Yes.
day. You
Yeah.
guys are clean.
Yeah.
You guys have nothing to
Depends
worry
on what
about.
you're talking about,
but,
man.
But you know what's crazy? I don't know if you guys heard this or not, but I was talking to somebody the other day, and he has his fiance's grandma lives in Milan, Italy.
Oh, wow.
And he was telling me, he's like, there's a 10-hour wait in line to enter grocery stores in Milan. Because what they're doing is they're allowing people in only 10 at a time to do their groceries and get out. And even the time within the groceries, they're not rushing people. So you have elderly, you have citizens of Milan just waiting in line to get their
crazy.
everyday groceries just because of this.
Risking
virus.
exposure, too.
Exactly, just being outside.
Yeah.
And here's
you
the
know?
big thing too. It's unfortunate because people are taking it way farther than it needs to. You need to be smart. Wash your hands. Stop touching your face. All these little things.
Wash your hands.
You have to because that'll stop it. But
Yep.
for the vast majority of people who are healthy individuals, healthy adults, you're most likely going to be completely fine. Does that mean then you don't have to take it seriously? Absolutely not, because what Italy is going through right now isn't just the fact that, yes, I think they're 6.8 or 6.9% death rate right now. That's very, very, very high.
Yeah.
But the bigger problem is there's so many people who are sick that the hospitals are so overcrowded that people with who are having heart attacks still, strokes, all these, they can't do anything about it. That's why it's a crisis. So anyone who's out there saying, oh, it's just the flu, you don't even know, you're wrong. I'm sorry, you're wrong.
You're being selfish, too.
You're being very selfish, but you don't have to have the hysteria. You don't have to be scared about getting it if you're a healthy adult. But think of the others. Think of the elderly. Think of our hospital systems. Think of everything around you. If you think you're sick, you should be quarantining yourself. So it's very serious. we should be taking it serious. I think what we already said earlier, the NBA did a fantastic job setting the tone. Now all conferences, all concerts, most major sporting, they're all done.
Yeah.
It's going to help because you have to think of the hospitals and you have to think of those who are actually, if they do get this, it could be very serious for them. So it's just important to remember that when you're going through all of these clips and everything like that, it is actually much more serious. I think people are letting off.
Yeah, just do your part, right? I mean, just, if you feel a little sick, just isolate yourself for a couple of days. And a lot of companies are doing this. Twitter globally has 4,900 employees. They sent all of them home.
Google as well.
Google, I think Google's on the North American only, but still, it's like 100,000 employees. They sent everyone home. Work from home. It's okay. The Prime Minister of Canada, Justin Trudeau, his wife unfortunately tested positive. He's in quarantine now as well. They've shut down parliamentary activities here. So it's schools, man. Schools, man.
You got your kids
I
for
got
3
little
weeks now,
ones
man.
I got little one who's with me for 3 weeks, and we can't even go anywhere. So
Can't even watch any sports.
This should be no sports.
And no sports.
And kids for 3 weeks. Yay, fun.
Yeah.
But so just do your part. Like you said, wash your hands, isolate yourself, stay home. It's okay. You can do that, right? That's what you have to do, especially with the elderly. Just, if you especially if you're over 60 years old and you have an elder member of the family, take care of them, make sure they're okay because they're very susceptible to the virus, and just make sure everyone's safe.
Now, you see, I only have one problem with this.
Of course you do.
Of course, I have to. But here's the thing now.
So there's that one guy in the panel.
Oh,
Always.
it has to be me. But this is what I'm saying, though.
You have a problem with Corona?
Oh, absolutely.
I think that's pretty fair.
We have a problem with Corona, but I think I want to hear this.
But the thing is, why did it take this extent for people to be clean? Like the fact that this is a public service announcement to wash your hands, to buy hand sanitizer, toilet paper is the biggest thing on the market. And I'm trying to think to myself, what were you guys doing before this coronavirus came out? You guys are nasty. Wash your hands, man. Like, I don't understand this. I remember this, and it's a weird story I'm sharing, but I was in a public washroom. And I saw, I heard. I have to finish though, because I already started. Right. So I heard
nasty,
a flush.
Folks.
I heard a flush, and I saw a man walk out, and I'm like, you know what? Let me stay so I could observe his actions. So I'm washing my hands, and I see him looking in the mirror, checking if his face is okay, and I'm looking. I'm like, let's see what you're about to do. He looks at me, smiles and nods, and he walks out. I'm like, listen.
You're dead to me.
I was so.
You are dead.
I
to
was
me.
so
So
upset.
hold on. It's not about not buying toilet paper. People bought toilet paper. They're stocking up for the if they are forced to stay home, right?
But
they're acting crazy. They're acting psycho. There's no doubt about that. Old elderly ladies should not be pushing their buggy carts into people's rib cage and forcing the toilet paper out of their hands. There is people are going overboard, but it's not like they didn't wash their hands and they didn't buy toilet paper. It's just they have to do it more.
That's true, but listen, I'm gonna tell people right now. I know WrestleMania is probably gonna be canceled, but if you want to see it won't.
They're keeping it right now. At least
they're
right now.
Wow. What they've done though is their TV shows they've moved to their performance center. So there's no so I don't know if the crowd is gonna be there. I know
there won't be any crowd.
I know NXT has it at Full Sail University usually in Orlando. They moved their show to the performance center, but they had audience in there.
Yeah.
So I don't know what they're gonna do with the other shows, Raw and SmackDown.
So
but WrestleMania is still on, bro.
Okay, if WrestleMania
and UFC is also still on.
That's still on, but I'm gonna tell people right now.
Dana wants that money.
If you don't want to pay money, you go to your local grocery store. You'll see the best fights in town. This is on.
Did you see those videos on Walmart? See those videos on Walmart where they're doing the WWE move, like they're doing the Canadian Destroy and all that?
It was ridiculous.
It's crazy. Yeah, in Walmart, off the top of the shelf.
Lineups, everything. This is the hysteria part. I'm just saying, the hysteria is ridiculous.
It is.
But the opposite end of the spectrum as well. There's nothing to be afraid of, guys. This is just like the flu. It's also just
exactly.
stupid.
I
agree.
This is more dangerous than SARS because the thing with SARS is that you get the symptoms right away, right? So it's easily treatable.
This is not like that at all.
With coronavirus, you don't know unless you're 5-6 days
I can have it right now, and all of you guys are screwed.
Yeah,
I'm not getting it.
I'm safe. I've been washing
Is that a
my
wrap?
hands.
Is that a wrap? Can we end with that? Yeah. Can we end with that?
I'm still not getting it, so it doesn't matter.
Let's hope, man. Let's hope none of us get it, man. And if you do, man, God forbid.
Kayon's gonna be the only one who gets it.
I'm not getting it.
He's gonna be the only one who gets it. We'll all be fine.
I speak life. I speak life over this body. It's not happening.
I will outwill the virus.
I appreciate the confidence in everybody here. I'll end it with this. In a time where sports is usually the escape, in a time where it feels as if we can always go back to sports when something in the world isn't acting right, at this time right now, even the sports world is being affected with this. So please wash your hands. Have a
Very
good one.
simple.
Take care.